why I was able to have the energy to do all of that is essentially my kids, my family. So my wife and my kids, I want to be able to provide them generational wealth. Not only are my kids going to benefit from what I'm doing, but also their kids are going to, and hopefully their kids. And if I've taught them well enough, they'll continue the generational wealth down the line. And you know, it's got to start somewhere, and it's going to start with me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Toast.
Yeah. Toast to freedom,
America.
To America. Wow. Yeah.
Nobody does it like Jollibee, man.
Yeah.
Yo, what's up, guys?
What's up? What up?
Welcome back. Today, you guys are watching the very first episode of
BANGnCHAT.
And of course, it's me, Marksav, and I'm here with
Barberangelo, what up?
And today we got a special guest, Nickie Trans. He's the very first millionaire that I know personally.
Yes.
I mean, the youngest millionaire that I know personally. Welcome, it's an honor to have you.
Thanks for having me, man.
And before we get started, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
It's my personal Instagram. It's at @namnoon_Nick, and it'll probably show up on the bottom here.
Oh, definitely.
Awesome, yeah, link in the bio. Definitely follow this guy. Big things happening soon. And AJ, tell us what we're doing today.
Yeah. Today we got Jollibee, but right here. Yo, I'm gonna do a real close up. Some macro shots real quick. Ooh, yeah, another one. Woo! All right, for sure. Hell
Spaghetti
yeah.
one?
That extra sugar.
Extra ketchup.
Hell yeah.
Yo, Nickie, when's the last time you had Jollibee?
So,
Last time I had Jollibee was probably December 2016. It's like definitely a long time ago.
Man, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, this is gonna be a real treat.
All right, well let's dig in before we start talking. I only got normal chicken, so grab some chicken, guys.
Yeah.
Grab some rice, mashed potatoes.
Gravy.
that's crazy. So they really don't have Jollibee in Japan?
Nah, man.
Dude, that's
No, they don't have a lot of things in Japan.
horrible, man. They're missing out.
What's like the chicken spot in Japan?
I'd say KFC's pretty popular over there.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, every Christmas they think it's an American tradition to eat fried chicken.
Okay.
So every Christmas in Japan, they're just selling like a whole feast of fried chicken for that reason.
That's funny, man.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, go look it up.
What are their favorite sides with the fried chicken?
I don't know, man. I haven't
sure.
bought it because it's definitely not an American tradition.
For sure, man.
I don't know where they got that from.
Well, yeah, man.
It's not true.
Ooh.
So Nickie
Spaghetti.
and I and AJ, we all went to high school together.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
That was a long time ago, guys. And I think the last
been a
time I've
minute.
seen you was like maybe like 6 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't even see you the last time I was here.
Wow.
Last time I was here pre-pandemic, right?
Oh
It
yeah.
was December 2019.
Dang.
So
Alright, bro.
that was a long time.
I'm gonna get some
ago.
later.
Yeah,
Chicken
2019.
first.
December 2019 was the last time I was here.
All right. So did you guys take a bite yet?
Well,
Maybe
no.
we should take a bite first.
Okay. I already did, but we can redo it. There we go.
Alright.
Toast.
Yeah.
Toast.
To freedom.
America.
To America. Wow, yeah.
Nobody does it like Jollibee, man.
Yeah. This bomb. Whew.
It's still crispy,
Super tender, crispy.
super juicy.
Not as oily as like KFC. It's like perfect.
This gravy is insane.
Hell yeah. Gonna drown my chicken
All right.
gravy.
So as I was saying earlier, Nickie is the youngest millionaire that I know personally. So can you tell us how you went from high school, I guess, and then to becoming a millionaire?
Okay.
Or like tell us a little bit about yourself.
32 years old. Right after high school, I joined the Air Force. And I did the Air Force for about 6 years, about 6.5 years. And I was actually medically separated. But during my time in the military, that was when I really realized. During my time in the military, that was when I realized I had to get my finances under control, because I was living like a king over in Japan. My first duty station was Japan, and I was living like an absolute king over there. But I was also in a ton of debt.
Wait, hold on. What does that mean? Like living like a king?
Yeah.
I was pretty much partying every weekend, spending $400 a night.
Holy shit.
In
the fast life?
Roppongi, yeah, Roppongi, Shibuya
Living the fast
are like the
life,
two
bro.
hottest places to really party in.
Yeah, I've been there.
And
It's crazy.
that was my first duty location right after I graduated high school. And so you got to think, like, I was 18 years old in Tokyo, and I had the time of my life from about 18 to 24. So 24 was around the time I started getting settled down, right?
Yeah.
But I definitely got out of my system, and during that time, I didn't really know much about finances. I wasn't taught that much, like, similar to a lot of people. We weren't taught about finances and budgeting and this and that. So I made pretty much every financial mistake you can make under the sun as a 18-year-old with zero credit, E1 in the military. I bought a brand new car, or I bought a car in tech school. That's like a big no-no.
Yeah.
And I did it anyways because I just wanted a car. It was a $20,000 loan at 17% interest.
Dude, that should be
That's pretty
illegal.
high, bro.
17% interest?
Yeah.
They robbed you, bro.
I still have the paper actually at home. I
That's
have a
crazy.
contract that I
That's a lot.
signed. It's actually 17%.
Wow.
17.49% actually.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I think I feel the same way as you, because right when I graduated college, I bought a car too. But 17.9 is insane. I think mine's like 4% or something like that. But damn. So you were in a pretty large hole while you were
Right
in
off the bat,
military.
yeah.
Okay.
Right off the bat, I was 20 grand in debt. I was 18 years old. And I felt like that car loan wasn't enough, so I maxed out a bunch of credit cards, took out some personal loans to, I guess, fund my lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to look like I was having the time of my life to my friends back home, but I really wasn't. I was digging myself deeper and deeper into debt, pretending to be wealthy or rich or whatever, right? That's kind of, especially with social media coming out around that time. I think it was about, probably like MySpace was kind of dying off and Facebook was really kicking off. You know, a lot of people share the highlights of their life on there, and they really got our generation, I feel like, with the, you know, the start of social media.
Oh yeah, I think our generation's jacked up because of it.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
Like every time I came to visit you guys during my break in the military, I would pretend like I was rich. I lied about money. I lied about how much money I had.
One of our homies said that you pulled out a wad like
Yeah,
bro, like hella $100
right.
bills, bro. Like, I don't know how much money you had on you, bro, but yeah, you made that impression. That was pretty crazy.
That was loan money. That was like loan
That's wild,
money
bro.
that I just took
That's
out of an
fucking
ATM.
crazy.
yeah.
You know, and I was making so many mistakes, and it was so dumb. But
You learn from it though, man.
exactly.
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, I don't regret too much. I had the time of my life in Japan, like I said, but it was time for me to grow up. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
after realizing how much debt I had amassed, I started looking into ways on how to pay off the debt. Because another wake-up call I had was the very real possibility of me getting medically separated from the military. I wanted to be a lifer. I wanted to do 20 years and retire, you know, at 38, whatever.
Yeah.
But I just simply couldn't. So in 2011, I actually had cancer.
Damn.
And it was oral cancer. They took a part of my tongue out. They took out the lymph nodes on the right side of my neck, which left permanent nerve damage. So because of the permanent nerve damage, I have to take certain medications that disqualify me from my job in the military, which I was a mechanic. I worked on the flight line.
Wow.
And you cannot be working on machinery if you're under the influence of certain medications.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
So I essentially was on the fence. There was a very high possibility of me getting medically separated from that condition.
Yeah.
And when I found that out, I was in a ton of debt. I had virtually no money to my name at all. I still have screenshots from around that time. I think I had no more than $40 in my checking account.
Dang.
Yeah. At any given time, yeah. Because when you're in the military that young, you get so used to all of your major bills getting taken care of. I never had to pay for rent. I never had to pay for utilities. The only bills that I had built up was, I created that for myself. Internet, phone, personal loan bills, auto loan, things like that, credit cards. Those bills I created on my own.
So essentially, in the military, you were living paycheck to paycheck.
I was, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was living the majority of my military time paycheck to paycheck. Absolutely.
That's crazy.
If it's not too personal, would you tell us like how much debt you were in total? Like the deepest you got?
The most debt I had was probably a total of $30,000.
Okay, that's not too bad.
Yeah.
I met some people that are like in the six figures. And
okay.
crap, man.
That's pretty intense.
That's crazy.
I honestly, if I didn't get that wake up call,
yeah,
I probably would have amassed even more debt just to pretend to have like this lavish lifestyle to show to my friends, right?
Yeah.
But like I said, that was a wake up call, and that made me realize I need to overhaul my personal finances. I really need to get a grip on this and not. I was doing minimum payments every month, which is terrible. It's a terrible idea.
Definitely.
I thought it was enough, they trick you with that. These low payments, and they got me.
Damn.
They got me, man.
Credit card companies, man.
Yeah, and car, the car dealerships.
They're evil. But so like, what was your plan of attack, I guess? So now that you like had that wake up call, how did you attack your debt?
So I started this journey in 2010, 2011, so about 10 years ago. And YouTube didn't really have that many videos on this subject at all at that time. So that wasn't the first place I would look for information. I would just look on Google and articles here and there about how to get out of debt. Actually, I was searching those keywords every day when I started that journey. I would Google how to get out of debt, how to get out of debt in 12 months, this and that.
Yeah.
And the same topic came up every time. It was Dave Ramsey, Debt Snowball Plan.
Oh, I bought his book, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah, Dave Ramsey.
Yeah.
There's certain things that I agree with him, and then other things I don't with other
the cash only
authors.
thing.
Yeah,
that was kind of crazy.
That is kind of weird. But there are definitely some aspects of his teachings that are absolutely valuable to your life. And one of those things was how to get out of debt using the debt snowball plan. And so that's essentially what I used to get out of debt.
Yeah.
In about 12 months or so, 12, 13 months, I got completely out of debt.
Nice. Would you say like the main thing to get out of debt was budgeting essentially?
Yes. So budgeting basically entails knowing exactly how much money you are allowed to spend for each category, right? So I'm not really the type of person to be like, don't buy coffees, right? Like if a $3 cup of coffee genuinely brings you joy every morning to get ready to work, then go ahead and do it. It's just $3, whatever. But I'm more concerned with, are you going to make a budget for that coffee, and are you going to stick to it? You're just putting a cap on it. It doesn't mean you can't ever get that coffee. You just need to put a cap on it. So I know a lot of people I talk to personally, they DoorDash a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not telling them to never DoorDash again in their life. I'm just telling them, just put a cap on it, because you're spending a little too much every day on DoorDash,
Exactly. Just like be aware.
Yeah, maybe instead of DoorDashing 3 times a day, you just DoorDash 2, and maybe cook for one of those meals. It's a lot of this is not so much a get-rich-quick scheme. It's just like you start off with little habits that compound over time. So switching out a meal with a home-cooked meal. Calling your utility companies once in a while to get a deal, get a discount, something like that.
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that people don't know that they can do if they just ask.
So I guess after you budget, then what's next? Like, so say like I've been budgeting and now I'm having excess of 1,000 that is 1,000 maybe like 500 a month now that I have saved. What do I do with that 500?
So I usually tell people that,
Or let's just do it as 1,000 because it's a easier
1,000.
number. Yeah.
So $1,000, you found out through budgeting and tracking your income and expenses,
Mhm.
you found out that you have an extra $1,000 per month to spend on.
Yeah.
Most people will use that extra money to buy more materialistic things, right?
Yeah.
That go down in value. But instead, I always tell people that if you are in debt, paying off your debt is the best return on investment you can have. Like, a lot of people are more worried about, should I invest first or should I pay off debt?
Yeah.
You know, or should I pay off debt first and then invest after?
Pay off debt first.
But I always say pay off debt first because I've talked to people that have insane interest rates on their loans. I'm not going to say the exact number because then this, you know, it'll kind of give it away, but it's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy interest rates. And those are pretty incredible return on investments. And the consumer, the credit card holder, or the loan holder, that's their investments. That's those companies' investments.
That's true.
You know?
Yeah, I tell all of my friends, like, don't have credit card debt ever. Like,
Ever.
it's like,
Never.
like I see most credit cards like 18%, some even like 24%. And I just tell them all the time, like, never have credit card debt unless you absolutely need to. Cause like, I have some friends that like, they'll have money in their savings, right? And it's just sitting there, but they don't pay off their credit card. They just pay the minimum, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's never have credit card debt, guys.
Pay off your credit card in full every month.
Yeah.
Don't carry a balance over.
I feel like they get you though. Like I have auto pay on, and sometimes it like doesn't go through, and I'm like, damn, did they just screw me over on purpose?
Horrible.
Yeah, that's another thing is like, you have to really stay on top of your finances. I because I'm a finance nerd, right? Like I look at it every day because I want to make sure that there's nothing funny going on with any of our accounts.
Yeah.
So I actually log into all of my stuff every single day and I check it every day.
Every
And
day?
yeah, every day. Just because I'm just so interested in it.
Yeah.
And also like that's how you catch fraud before your bank or
That's
your company
true.
or credit card company finds it.
Yeah.
You know, and when the pandemic first happened, a lot of people were getting credit card fraud because a lot of people had more free time.
Yeah.
Actually, one of my credit cards got frauded during the pandemic.
Oh my god.
And that was the first time that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm really on top of my stuff. But that was the first time somebody actually tried to buy something in like Texas, and I live in Japan, right?
Right.
Or sorry, yeah. People know I live in Japan, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that was the first time that's ever happened to me, and somebody tried to buy something in Texas.
Dang. So did the bank take care of you?
Yeah. So that's why it's good to have credit cards because you have those types of protections, and there was no issues at all. They didn't hold that charge against me, and they closed out the credit card and sent me a brand new credit card within like a week or two.
Nice.
Yeah,
You
that's
caught
why.
it early, man.
Yeah, that's how you guys do a credit fraud. You buy something and then you just tell them it wasn't you.
Pro tip.
Pro tip. No, I'm just kidding, guys.
Yeah.
Damn.
You guys want to try this? Adobo rice?
Ooh, adobo
fire.
rice.
Yeah.
What is adobo rice, AJ?
So adobo
cool.
rice is pretty much, the ingredients in adobo: soy sauce, vinegar.
Let me try that.
I don't know if they have like garlic in there, but it's fire, bro. It's good stuff, man. It's my favorite.
AJ,
Adobo.
have you ever been in debt?
Yes, I have actually. Not too bad, $3,500 in debt. But I always knew that I wanted to start investing, and that's what I actually wanted to get into during the pandemic. And I was paying I think like $60 a month for no reason, and I didn't like that. So I ended up paying off all of it, and I'm out of debt now. Now I can focus on investing.
Congrats.
And,
good.
Yeah, and thanks to you too as well, Mark, and all of our friends. A lot of support. They definitely told me to get rid of debt first before we start investing. I think that's the number one rule for sure.
Yeah.
I believe in that. So definitely.
So now that we're on, I guess, would you say like the plan of attack was budget and then investing, right?
Yes.
So what's your investment like plan, or I guess attack, the way that you look at it, or you would recommend like me and AJ to do it?
So, so the most common investment strategy that I've came across and that I actually practice myself is index funds.
Okay.
So specifically, any index fund that tracks the S&P 500 or the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Most notably, VOO is the Vanguard version of the S&P 500 ETF, and QQQ is the Invesco version of the. It's a Invesco. So QQQ is an ETF that tracks the Dow Jones, and those are the two that I recommend most beginner investors to just buy a bunch in if they can. Or
wait, which two again? Sorry.
VOO and QQQ.
Okay.
I actually have that as part of my portfolio as well. I just have it 50-50 even. So every time I put money in there, it just goes into it evenly.
Yeah. And do you check that every day? Like, do you day trade that, or do you just like throw it in there and
just buy and hold? So I'm
don't even look at it.
I'm a long-term investor. It's just buy and hold. I don't trade. I think trading is gambling, as most people will probably tell you.
Yeah.
So I don't fall for those promise of quick gains and this and that, like large gains. Like, yeah, you can make a bunch of money on it, but you got to really be on top of it, and you got to know what you're doing, or else you're gonna lose a ton of money.
Yeah.
So like day trading, options trading, things like that, it's very, very risky.
Yeah.
High reward, high risk. But I'm more of a slow and steady wins the race kind of guy.
That makes sense.
And I really love index funds, honestly. There's all different types. You can get an index fund in cybersecurity, the marijuana industry. You can get a ETF in travel, right? Hotels, airlines, things like that. It's just a group. An ETF is just a group of different companies' stocks put together. And it's, the ETF itself is traded as a stock.
Yeah.
And it usually carries a lot less fees or expense ratios than mutual funds. So mutual funds are actively managed, and they carry a lot higher fees. So I generally don't recommend mutual funds because you can probably find an equally performing or even better performing ETF version of that.
Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not an expert. I don't have a certification or anything like that. I just kind of just learn it on my own, and I recommend to everybody, no matter what advice they get from YouTube or the internet or whatever, definitely double check that and do your due diligence. For sure.
So that being said, would you say that you should just go directly into these ETFs and like skip the 401k, or should you take advantage of like a 401k from your employer as well?
Oh, so definitely. Usually, most of the people our age, they fall in that category where, you know, I recommend getting out of debt first, then focus on investing. Of course, absolutely, the first step is to contribute up to the employer match on your 401k or anything that you have similar. Definitely do that, because that's essentially free money from your company, right? It's not truly free, but you know, it's just money that your company matches for you.
Right.
And that goes towards the 401k. Then next up, I would do an individual retirement account, so an IRA, specifically a Roth IRA, and of course you could do the research on that. But basically, the tax advantages of the Roth IRA is pretty good. So what you're doing is you're contributing up to $6,000 per year for our age group. That's after tax dollars that you contribute to this account, and so it grows essentially tax free. And then when you pull it out, all of the withdrawals, when it's time to retire, all of those gains are tax free.
And you can't pull out till a certain age, right?
Right, I think 59 and a half, but you'd have to double check that. I believe it's 59 and a half is the earliest you can pull out without any fees or anything like that.
Yeah. I need to do that. AJ, do you have a Roth?
I don't.
No?
Yeah, you can open one up with certain
Spaghetti,
brokerages.
please.
Yep.
Give it a try. Thank you.
6,000 max. So you do that every year, 6,000.
Yeah, do that every year. As soon as the new year hits, I usually just max it out and forget about it.
Okay.
And then after that's done, I would go back to maybe maxing out your 401k
Annually?
Yeah, annually.
Oh, I didn't even know there was a cap.
Yeah, I think there's a cap for a 401k. I personally have never had a 401k, so
Yeah,
I really don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never invested in my.
I really
401k
don't know,
My company
yeah.
doesn't even match, so I was like,
Oh,
I just throw
okay,
it into a
Okay, cool.
ETF, essentially.
Yeah, I believe with most 401ks there is a max
Yeah.
or a cap or whatever for the year. I don't know what it is exactly. But then once you're done with that, or you can even skip that, honestly. You could skip that if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
So after you're done with that, I would recommend opening up a individual brokerage account, like a taxable account.
Okay.
So that's where you would do things like you would buy the ETFs, like I mentioned, or even like stocks of really good companies like Fang, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are really good companies. I also have a dividend portfolio. So the dividend portfolio, the purpose of that is for dividends, and so we hope to one day just live off of the dividends annually.
Yeah.
And so we're aiming for a annual dividend yield of 100K to maintain that kind of lifestyle.
Nice.
And I think our portfolio would have to be about 2.8 million to reach that point.
Wow.
So that's one of our goals, is to have a dividend
Is
portfolio.
there a dividend ETF where it's like spread apart? Or do you just have to
Yeah, there's
buy,
actually
like,
a ton.
individual companies?
There's a ton of
Like high yield?
there's a ton of high yield dividend ETFs. Vanguard is really popular. Also Charles Schwab and Fidelity. Those are all like really popular brokerages that you can go through and buy similar ETFs.
Nice.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm a big Vanguard fan. Especially the new Call of Duty Vanguard.
That's right.
Hell yeah.
I think you made that
There's the
joke in
best
our chat.
Vanguard.
That was so
Yeah. That's funny. That's gonna have a VOO loadout.
Yeah.
So while you're in the military, was your income enough to pay off debt and also invest?
Yeah, good question. It really wasn't. Once I got a handle on my income and expenses, I had to really cut down on buying dumb stuff. So I was eating out all the time. I was very materialistic. I needed all the new iPods and iDevices, things like that. I needed new shoes. I was really into collecting Jordans at the time. And so
Hell yeah, we've all been there.
I realized like my military income, if you were in the military, I was only at E3 at that time, E3, E4 at that time. We weren't making that much money, so I realized I had to increase my income, basically. So what that means is I was, taking on jobs, like odd jobs here and there. I was mowing people's lawns for money.
Wow.
Teaching English on the side, because I was stationed in Japan. So there's a website you can sign up for, and it matches you with the student, and you can teach them.
Okay.
What else? did I
Just
do?
that being said, how many hours of actual work do you think you work in a week? Then.
In a week, probably I was taking on probably not that much additional on top of my day job.
Yeah.
So probably like 2-3 hours extra per day.
Oh dang.
Including traveling.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that bad, and we used public transport over there.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too bad. I made sure that I had enough rest and things like that, and stuff I needed to take care of at the end of the day.
Nice.
But it wasn't that much more time per day.
Yeah.
It was just enough.
That's good.
And then on top of that, I actually sold everything that I owned, pretty much, that I didn't
All the
care about
Jordans?
anymore.
All the
Yeah, I
retros?
sold everything.
For retail or for like resale?
Resale at that time, I probably sold like the Raging Bull pack. I probably sold it for like 500 at that time. I mean, that was probably in like 2010,
that's crazy.
2011 maybe.
Yeah, I didn't have money back then, so I don't know those pairs.
Yeah, I probably should have kept them now.
Yeah, we've all been there, man. That's crazy.
I realized like I needed to make more money, and so I had all this junk in my dorm room, and so I sold everything. I pretty much had nothing by the time I got out of the military.
Wow.
And I made a good amount of money on that stuff back.
Yeah.
So that was
That's
nice.
good.
So I was
That's really
always selling things, even flipping stuff. You could flip stuff really easily.
What do you guys use out there? Is it still the same Craigslist?
So at that time, there was actually a website built just for that base that I was stationed at,
Okay.
and it was like kind of like a swap page,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice.
you know. And that's where I posted all of my stuff, and people would contact you and take a look at it and then buy it or whatever you want. And so I pretty much made a ton of money selling off my stuff, and I used that money to further pay off my debt.
Yeah. So when you got out of the military, you were out of debt, essentially?
Yes, so by the time I actually finally got medically separated in 2014, I had about $30,000 saved to my name.
Yeah.
I actually wasn't investing during that time because I didn't know too much about it. I was just kind of like most people where you're like, oh, investing is too risky, stocks are really risky, this and that. So I didn't know too much about stocks or investing at that time. So really I just saved. So I paid off my debt and I just saved in just a regular savings account, And so I had $30,000 saved up by the time I got out of the military in 2014. And I actually got on a call with one of the financial advisors at my bank. And I kind of just asked him like, hey, I'm out of the military now and I kind of want this money to be doing something for me. And so that was when that person introduced me to mutual funds. So I had mutual funds for like a very long time, and I was paying a ton of fees and commissions on it, and the management fees, things like that, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Really high fees. And by the time I was ready to liquidate it, it hadn't even increased by that much, probably like 7-8%, and that was like years after.
Yeah.
It's very slow, very safe kind of segue into investing, right? So I realized mutual funds wasn't the way to go, and so I liquidated that and I actually put that into a brokerage account. So I was able to manage my own portfolio. Basically, I would buy and sell stocks as I see fit.
Nice.
So I got into that about 2016 or so.
That being said, what's your preferred brokerage now? Did you use a lot or different
So
ones?
I first started off with our main bank used to have a brokerage. It was with USAA, and then I believe they sold it to another company that took it over. But I actually liquidated that account so that I could buy real estate.
Okay.
And then I went to Vanguard for a little bit and actually liquidated that account. And so now I only have M1 Finance. And M1 Finance makes everything super easy. And I really love the interface of M1 Finance.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's really easy. So pretty much what you do is you build these pies, right? Each pie has a percentage and things like that.
Yeah.
And every time you put money into that, it knows exactly how many shares of this company that you want to buy. It does it all automatically. You don't have to calculate it. With Vanguard, I don't know if they still do this, but when I had a Vanguard account, I had to calculate exactly how many shares I wanted to buy each time I put money into it. And that was really time consuming and annoying, honestly. And for M1 Finance to completely automate this process is fantastic. That is a very powerful tool. And it's not for day traders. Absolutely, it's not for day traders. It's for
the
long-term buy and hold.
Is there
investor,
transaction fees associated with M1?
No. So I believe Robinhood spearheaded the whole commission-free trading, and so everybody had to follow suit. So I believe most brokerages do commission-free trading.
Yeah.
Which is nice because you save. I remember paying like $8 to $10 in commission fees, and then up to $20 per trade.
I was there too on E-Trade
That's
back
tough.
in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really
Do you
expensive.
have a M1 Finance like promo code if people want to join?
I do, yeah. So I've had about 7 people already use it, and so right now I believe they're doing a promotion where if you create an account using that link, and you fund a taxable brokerage account with at least $100 within the first 30 days, I believe, you'll get $50.
So you get $50, I get $50?
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
I might have to do that.
That's a steal.
I'm going to do that for you, man.
That's a steal. Thanks.
Because I'm on Robinhood right now.
Yeah, I used to have Robinhood actually, and then that whole fiasco happened that I won't mention. But
Where they locked up Jimmy.
during.
yeah, so I was like, oh, that's not cool, and so I ended up disabling that account. I liquidated that account, disabled the account, and then just moved solely over to M1 Finance.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah,
It's a smart move.
I really love M1 Finance, and
I'm going to sign up.
Thanks, man. That'd be awesome.
You guys out there, the link will be in the bio. Sign up for M1 Finance.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, man. That's cool.
So are you into like cryptocurrency? I know that's like pretty hot right now. What's your take on that, man? Because I know a lot of like young cats are trying to get into that. And they want to, get into the get rich quick schemes, and it's kind of like a high risk reward type of thing. What's your take on that?
Yeah, so I agree that it definitely has its case uses, and it's definitely looking like the future of currency, honestly. The decentralized system, basically.
Yeah.
And what it stands for. And so a lot of people are comparing this to the adoption of the internet in the early 90s. And so I think it's going the same way. I'm very confident in the path that cryptocurrency is going. If you understand it, then definitely invest in it. It's just like Warren Buffett says, if you don't understand what you're investing in, then don't do it.
Exactly.
You have to understand what you're investing in.
So what cryptos are you heavily invested in?
I just have a few. It's just the main cryptocurrencies right now. So like Bitcoin, Ethereum.
Okay.
Litecoin, and I think Cardano is a really popular one now. That's kind of been gaining traction.
No Dogecoin to the moon?
So
why not? Bro, Dogecoin.
Bro, I bought Dogecoin at the very top.
How many cents?
I think my average cost is like 49 cents.
Oh my god.
Yeah, dude, I think at one point it was like at 60 cents, 67 cents at the peak, bro.
Man.
I was buying it on the way up.
Okay, I didn't buy it at the very top.
Yeah,
49
dude,
cents
that's
is my
funny,
average cost.
Yeah, dude. But I believe in Dogecoin. I still think it's gonna
How about
go to
Rocket?
the moon. Hey man, it's bouncing back right now,
Have you heard of that?
as we speak, crypto.
Rocket?
Yeah, I've heard of Rocket.
Yeah.
It's actually probably not doing too bad. Yeah, dude, I see a lot of like alerts on Rocket. Yeah.
I bet you do it.
Yeah. No homo. I'm just kidding. But yeah, man,
No,
it's crazy.
so-
There's a lot of cryptos coming
I
out.
don't
man.
do
The no-name
I
ones?
never got into meme coins or meme stocks, things like that.
That's good.
So I learned from the last mistake that I made regarding hype stocks. It was when Pokemon Go came out. I think it was like 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
That was when I really first got into the stock market. So I ended up buying like 100 or 200 shares of Pokemon, or sorry.
I forgot the name of it.
I ended up buying 100 or 200 shares of Nintendo.
Oh, Nintendo. Okay.
Yeah, because it was all over the news, and at that time I was just kind of like, oh, it's blowing up, we got to get on this, so FOMO hit us hard, and we were so new to it and naive and inexperienced,
right,
and we didn't have the stomach for the volatility of the stock market, so we ended up buying it pretty much at the top at that time, and then some reports came out that people realized that Pokemon Go wasn't directly related to Nintendo. It was by a different company.
Yeah.
Just called like Niantic or something.
Yeah.
And then so when people realized that, they started panic selling. And so we saw our portfolio drop like by a lot. And just seeing that much red as a brand new investor, not knowing anything about investing, that was like heartbreaking. So I ended up just selling at a loss. So I lost a couple $1,000s at that time, and I swore that I would, and it hurt too, just being somebody who's like really frugal and cared about saving money and staying out of debt, things like that. It hurt losing that money, and so I swore to never get into the stock market ever again. Right? It's just like it's usually a lot of people's first time experience with the stock market, and so that was the last time I ever got onto anything that was like hyped up. Which was Nintendo stocks during the Pokemon Go craze. And so when all of this other stuff happened now with Dogecoin, GameStop, what's the other one? AMC. BlackBerry, right?
Yeah.
It was so easy for me to ignore all of that noise. Because once you hear something on the news, it's already too late.
Exactly.
So I know a lot of people, they lost their whole life savings gambling on that. That's essentially gambling. You're just gambling on this, right? Options trading is gambling, right? And so, although what happened was like miraculous, it was amazing. I'm all for it and stuff like that. But that's exactly what it is. It's gambling. You're taking a huge risk, and people were putting their entire life savings in it, which is dumb, to be honest. If you do anything speculative, please use money that you don't care about losing forever. So like I put
money you're willing to lose, right?
So when Coinbase went public, essentially that was my speculative purchase. I just put 10K into it, which is a very small percentage of my net worth, right? Not to sound like a douche.
I wish I just had 10K to lose.
That's 1%, right?
So I mean, looking at it now, it's down 2,000. So you know, that's just, I'm just gonna hold on to it and just hope for the best. But our main portfolio, the beefier sections of our portfolio, is in tried and true ETFs. You know, index funds, things like that. REITs even, which is a real estate investment trust, where you can invest in real estate without actually having to buy real estate. So I do that on top of actually owning real estate, which is awesome.
Yeah, just to piggyback off that, it was pretty funny when COVID first started. I thought like the world was gonna end essentially. So I put so many put options in the market, and I got burned. It's by the time I put options in, like everything came back up. It felt it felt artificial a little bit, but I lost a couple grand.
Yeah, see that's the thing. It's like it's all about timing and luck, honestly, with that stuff. Because I know there were people on Wall Street bets. They were making millions of dollars off of that whole crash. With options trading.
Yeah, sure. I just hit it too late. I probably like was looking at Reddit forums, and then I just did what they did, but like 2 weeks later, and then I got burned. Yeah. And the expiration hit. The strike was too. The expiration date was too close.
Yeah, I don't mess with that. I just do buy and hold. I just do buy and hold, man.
But tell us more about like how you got into real estate investing, because I know would you say like the majority of your income is from the stock market or more so from real estate?
That's a good question. So after I got out of debt, I started getting really into saving money. I started living a really frugal life. I figured I lived my life at the fullest when I was in the military, stationed in Japan. So now it's time to kind of grow up. So I started growing up. I started not really caring about materialistic things. Ended up amassing several thousands of dollars by the time I got out of the military. So $30,000 I had saved up. And during that time, I was seeing my now wife. She was really frugal as well. So it really helps having a partner that's also on the same page as you financially speaking. Actually, remember, I forgot when we were dating. I came across her bank information somehow. It was just on a laptop or something. I kind of glanced over at it. Yeah. And mind you, my net worth at this time was probably like 10 grand positive. And when I looked at this girl's bank, it had like 120K in it.
That's like I inherited.
I inherited all of my wealth. It wasn't any of my doing.
I'm just kidding.
I inherited it from my wife. Exactly. So now I'm just making a quick buck.
There you go.
No, but I saw that and it absolutely blew my mind, and I was just like, wow, like she is so far ahead of me. Yeah. I need to get my stuff together. And so
definitely.
So that was actually a wake up call. That was actually a wake up call to the wake up call, right? So I started really going into overdrive when it came to saving. Yeah. I was still living my life in Japan. I just wasn't spending as much on unnecessary things, right? So you want to categorize your expenses into wants and needs, right? Yeah. I didn't want anything anymore. So I'd say by about 2019, so towards the end of 2019, my wife and I had amassed about $650,000 in just cash. What? Yeah. Just sitting in a high yield savings account, which we thought was a really good investment strategy, but it wasn't. Right, it's only like 1.6% at that time. Yeah, it's even lower now after the pandemic hit.
Wait, so how many years after when you saw that she had 120,000 and you had 10,000? How long between that point to get to amass 650 grand?
Probably about 7 years.
7 years. Okay. Yeah. So you just kept going on with the investing in mutual funds.
Mostly saving.
ETFs.
Yeah, mostly saving and trying to put a little bit into. I had a Roth IRA at the time and also an investment account with my bank. Yeah. Very very small. It wasn't anything serious. Most of our money was just sitting in a savings account, which I know a lot of people out there are probably like cringing in their seats, right? Because you don't want your money just sitting in a savings account because it's dying to inflation essentially. Yeah. Right. So but we didn't know any better, and so by the time 2019 hit, right before the pandemic, my wife and I, we really had a heart-to-heart conversation about like what we're gonna do for the future, and I told her that I really wanted to get into real estate because for the longest time ever, my whole life, I've always been kind of told that real estate was the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, I remember I had a conversation with this random old guy at CVS waiting in line for medication after I got out of the military. It was in 2014, the CVS. This guy comes up to me and he's like, "Hey, you know, how's it going?" And he just started shooting the breeze. Found out that I was in the military and I had just gotten out.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, you know, I never really joined the military, but you should really get into real estate." Like, he just went straight to it. He was like, "You need to get into real estate."
That's awesome.
And so that advice just stuck to me ever since.
Yeah.
So from 2019 to 2019, there was always a conversation that I had that came up where I needed to get into real estate.
Yeah.
And so 2019 hit. I'm actually had a conversation with Sean Brown.
Oh.
So Sean Brown was actually the one, along with my other friend Jake. They both came to me with an idea to get into real estate, and they planted the seed in my mind.
Yeah.
Two completely different people. They just happened to talk to me about real estate at around the same time. And then so I felt like that was kind of a sign, right? It was getting a little bit closer and closer to home. So I decided to tell Stephanie that we really needed to make this money work for us by starting to get investment properties, right?
Yeah. So
that's another good thing about having a partner that's on board with you. So she essentially gave me full control over our finances.
That's awesome.
So she was like, "I trust you. Do whatever you need to do necessary for this journey that you're going on." And I wrote out clear plans and goals and things like that, milestones. And I essentially hit my 5-year goal within that first year of real estate investing.
Wow.
That goal being to become a millionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I essentially bought 6 houses during the pandemic in 2020. I bought
Where is
6
this
houses.
at? Where did you buy 6?
It's in the Midwest, so Indiana. I own homes in Indiana.
Okay.
And it was just with research with Sean. I just went with the idea that Sean had.
Yeah.
Because we had already started researching the area, so I was like, figured, might as well just jump in while we know the information fresh.
Yeah.
And I always knew that the Midwest was where it's at. That's where you get value in the homes, right? Because if I were to do this in California, I'd probably would have been able to buy like half of a house.
Yeah.
Right? Because California is just way too crazy. But I highly recommend the Midwest for sure.
Did you have a property manager out here, or did you do all the...
No, so I ended up contacting a bunch of different real estate agents.
Yeah.
And I interviewed them because I want to make sure that they're the right fit for me for my goals, right? Specifically rental property investing. And so I probably interviewed maybe a dozen real estate agents, and then one of them really stuck out. He essentially challenged me to basically take actions, right? He wanted me to take action. So he sent me an email. He basically gave me his whole contact list of who he uses for his real estate investment. And so I contacted all of them.
Yeah.
And so he basically gave me his whole team, which is already built. So why reinvent the wheel, right?
Right.
So I still use all of his contacts to this day, over a year later. His property manager, his real estate attorney, mortgage broker, contractors, things like that. And it's been smooth sailing since. It was definitely a lot of hard work because I pretty much did this from my laptop in Japan.
Wow.
There was a lot of late nights because of the time difference.
Yeah.
So there were some nights where I was analyzing tons and tons and tons of properties up until about 3 a.m. Because everything about buying a house is time sensitive, right? You have to put in your purchase agreement, and they get X amount of days to respond, and then we have X amount of days to respond. It's very time sensitive. So I sacrificed a lot of sleep in 2020.
And you did this all while working a 40-hour job?
Yes, I did this all while being in school and working a full-time job.
That's insane.
I was working on my master's at that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you completed your master's while you were doing
I
this?
did, yeah.
Damn, that's incredible.
Yeah. And It was a really fun, insane learning experience. It's just crazy what you can do with technology today, because I was able to do everything from my laptop. I bought 6 houses in Indiana from Tokyo, Japan, from my laptop.
That's crazy.
That's pretty crazy.
And you have 3 kids, right? 2 kids?
I have 2 kids now.
2 kids? Dang. Do you have, like, for me, like, I don't have kids. I'm not going to school. I do the 40-hour job. AJ works. Do you have any advice for, like, the folks that, like, because sometimes I feel like I'm tired. I just want to, like, play video games all night when I get home. Like, what's your advice to, like, the folks out there?
The number one advice I would give, I actually have 2 parts to that. I think it's very important. The first advice I have, and AJ actually mentioned that in a previous episode, the swimming pool party episode.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. I'm pretty sure I taught him that, but it all starts with your mindset.
Yeah,
right?
It's true. It's true.
What did you say in that last video?
Once you change it up here, it's going to change in your pockets. Like, you really need to change your mindset, because it's the way that people think, and they just miss out on opportunities, you know. And once you really, like, open it up, you're like, I hear that all the time. Like, your mind is like a parachute. Like, it doesn't work until it's, like, completely open. So definitely.
I never heard that.
It's
Yeah,
true.
that was
Yeah,
pretty
it
good.
is.
I like
It's
that.
really, it's
That
true.
was pretty good, man.
You just got to keep it open, and, like, yeah, just always think outside the box, and
So
helps a lot.
definitely, once you change it up in your mind, then your actions will follow suit.
Yeah.
What I really mean by that is realizing that you're a consumer versus investor. If you start thinking like an investor, then you start making smarter decisions with your money. Right? And so that pretty much happened to me. It actually didn't happen to me too long ago. It probably happened about November of last year. And it's something in my mind just clicked. And I just stopped wanting things because I truly just didn't want them anymore.
Wow.
You know, everybody's walking around having AirPods and stuff.
I'm such a consumer
I still have the wired
tough.
headphones.
Yeah, that's
You know?
tough, man.
Yeah.
Being a consumer.
And like all of my clothes
tough
are
battle.
super old, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have I wash my shoes all the time. They still look brand new. You know, it's like extreme. I don't even think it's that extreme frugal.
Yeah.
Right? But it's just I don't care to buy things like I used to anymore.
Yeah.
You know, I don't always get the brand new phones that come out, things like that. It's just I just don't desire that stuff anymore. I think the last purchase that I truly wanted was a gaming PC with the RTX 3090 in it.
3090.
Which is pretty sick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I actually ended up, I was able to write it off as a business expense anyways.
There you go.
That's
so
awesome, yeah.
my whole setup at home is all written off. And so that's one of those things about real estate and owning a business is that you can write off things legally. You can legally avoid tax if you understand
Exactly.
the tax laws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Nickie, you just listed a bunch of those things that you did in 2019. You were going to school, getting your master's degree, you have 2 kids, you worked a 40-hour job, and then you're doing real estate on the side. As like a person like me, I just have a job, and then like I come home and I feel tired as hell, right?
Yeah.
Where did you find that energy, or like what motivated you to do what you did?
So the first thing you got to really think about before you embark on a journey like this is try to figure out what your goals are. Like, why are you doing this? Why are you trying to seek financial independence? Which is what I'm trying to do, right? Financial independence.
Definitely.
To not have to rely on a company or a boss or anything like that. You can just do whatever the heck you want to do, right?
Yeah.
And so my reasoning was, so I have 2 kids, and I don't want them to ever kind of live the same life that I had growing up. I mean, we weren't like poor or anything. We weren't struggling, but it was, you know, probably just middle class, I'd say. My parents are still pretty strict with their money and this and that. You know, we couldn't really afford certain things, but life wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad at all. My parents provided a great life for us. You know, we got good grades, you know, typical Asian family, this and that. We were well fed, things like that. But I think the fact that there was such a lack of discussion of money with our family, it led me to have these terrible financial habits when I was on my own.
Yeah.
And so I don't want that lifestyle for my kids, so I'm going to teach them everything I know about personal finances, and I'm also going to be able to provide for them as much as I can so that they don't ever have to worry about, can they afford this college or whatever. I'm going to make them understand the importance of money. I'm going to make them respect hard work. I'm going to make them respect money. So I really don't want them to turn out to be like those typical trust fund babies where they're just really reckless with their money.
Yeah.
I'm going to teach them and they will respect money and hard work, things like that. So my reasoning and why I was able to have the energy to do all of that is essentially my kids, my family. So my wife and my kids, I want to be able to provide them generational wealth. Not only are my kids going to benefit from what I'm doing, but also their kids are going to, and hopefully their kids. And if I've taught them well enough, they'll continue the generational wealth down the line. And it's got to start somewhere, and it's going to start with me.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Damn.
Yeah.
Fired up, man. I feel like sometimes I forget about my, I guess you could call it legacy. Like I'm not, because I don't have kids, so I'm not even thinking about that yet. But I feel like that's something I gotta channel, and it'll help me.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people, their motivation is different. I know one person's motivated to, buy a certain car, or one person's motivated to buy his first investment property. Everybody has their own reasons, and who am I to tell them that it's a valid goal or not? So if that's genuinely your goal, absolutely work towards it and do it the right way.
Yeah.
Don't make the same mistakes I did growing up. So that's my question about energy, and also a lot of coffee, not enough sleep as usual.
Yeah.
It never ends. Never ends, man.
Yeah. I also wanted to say congratulations on quitting your job.
Thanks, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's actually really funny. When I posted that,
Yeah.
I was actually getting a ton of congratulatory messages for me quitting my job.
I think it's
That's
everyone's
so funny.
goal is to quit their job and not have a boss.
Because usually, like when you quit a job, you're in line to get another job, right? Like hopefully a better paying job. But it was just that's where it ended. Like that was my last job I'll ever have in this lifetime. I'm never going to work for another company or another organization ever again.
It's awesome, man.
Yeah. So I essentially reached financial independence. So our passive income was essentially double my active income. So once we reached that point, I decided to quit my job. I talked it over with my wife. She still works full time, but we agreed and decided that my energy and by freeing up that 9 to 5 section of my day, I can fully devote that time to running businesses. And I currently have 2 businesses, and I'm actually working on a 3rd business.
Really?
Yeah.
What's would you be able to disclose?
Yeah, so the first business is in real estate. The second business is in e-commerce. That's kind of in its infancy right now. It's not actually generating any income right now, but it will be hopefully. And then the 3rd business I'm currently working on is financial coaching. So I hope to start a financial coaching business pretty soon.
Yeah, you should tell us about it, because I know you were offering free sessions for a bit.
Yes.
And you just completed those free sessions.
Yes, so I did free 1-month trial sessions with friends, and in return, I had asked for honest reviews of my services, and actually those reviews are on my highlights on my Instagram. So I believe there's like 11 or 12. I ended up counseling more people than I thought, but I offered them 1 month for free. In which they could message me at any time. They could have one-on-one video calls or audio calls with me at any time.
Nice.
Things like that, and I would answer my questions. Basically, it's pretty much what I would do if I was in their shoes.
Yeah.
How would I tackle certain financial situations that they're currently in, and my personal advice on how to improve that situation.
That's awesome.
And basically just another set of eyes on whatever they're planning.
Yeah.
Another set of ears, things like that. Maybe somebody that they can trust. And this is definitely something that I'm very passionate about, because so I'm currently offering 1-hour sessions.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that 1 hour is not enough time.
I can see that.
with personal finance. It's
Yeah.
endless. You're constantly learning.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I had a one-on-one, I was genuinely excited to talk to this client.
Yeah.
And every time I was just really passionate. And you know, the more I hear myself talk about it, the more I realize like this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I love doing. And it's true what they say. It's like if you love what you're doing, it's not a job. You know.
Yeah.
In your life, yeah.
It's just something that I love to do, and I just so happen to get paid to do it. And I want to turn that into a business.
Yeah. And you're helping people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not some kind of like give me $100, give me $1,000, and I'll turn it to 10,000 overnight. It's not a get rich quick thing.
Yeah.
It's genuinely just one-on-one counseling sessions about personal finances and what I would do to get you out of that bad or good situation that you're in.
And you're taking new clients right now?
Yes, I am. So
Awesome.
I'm on vacation right now, so probably I won't be doing anything for the next 3 weeks.
Uh-huh.
But once I get back to Japan, I'm gonna open up a link on Calendly, and they'll have like open sessions that you can sign up for, and it's $20 per hour.
Ooh,
Nice.
Yeah. So it's not I'm not using this as a main source of income or anything like that to take advantage of people. I've kind of reached this point where I figured if I was able to accomplish what I've accomplished, I know that other people can do it. There's nothing extraordinary about me. I'm just a regular guy who was, in the Air Force, got out, made a ton of financial mistakes, and then kind of got out of it. And so now I'm in the situation where a lot of people are genuinely asking me about advice and how I got to where I am today, things like that. And so I figured if I could help people, that would be more fulfilling than any job I've ever had in my life.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I do. That's why I do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
And AJ and I, we've had 3-hour-long conversations on Warzone about personal finances.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Which is pretty funny, and I could talk about it all day.
Yeah.
Personal finances. I could talk about it all day.
Yeah, I definitely want to talk more about
That's great that you have that mentality.
everything, dude. I just want to talk to you more now. I just want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun, man.
So how do you budget your time on Warzone? Because I play a hell of Warzone, and I feel like
Yeah, you know what? I'm not doing too good on that, actually.
Who is, right? Especially with the
it is so
a girlfriend,
addictive.
wife.
It's like one more game, and then one more game turns into 30 more games.
Yep.
And the whole day is done.
Yeah.
So I quit my job in July, right? But right before I quit my job, I actually took all my leave, which my supervisor allowed me to do. So I was actually on leave for about a month before my final day. And during that time of leave, I was supposed to catch up on my business. I was supposed to get the second business started. Mm-hmm. But I ended up just playing Warzone the whole time for like a month straight.
Dang.
And but that's the beauty of being
balance,
self-employed.
right?
That's the beauty of being
part of the
self-employed.
balance, right? Yeah.
I figured I worked my ass off for the last 32 years, or I don't know, not 32 years.
when you started working 10 years.
I figured I worked my ass off for the past 14 years. Might as well give me 1 month of a break to do whatever I want.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of financial independence, is that you don't have to worry about asking permission, unless you're married. Then you do have to ask permission if you're a significant other. But when I was on leave, I was pretty much playing Warzone every day, and I didn't go to the gym. I didn't, didn't do anything. That's kind of tough.
That's the life.
I was telling AJ,
yeah.
you're like the only dad, but you don't have a dad bod, and we don't have kids, but we have dad bods.
Yeah, bro.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, man. I figured you gotta live long for your kids, man. And so I ended up, I actually got a full body medical exam in Japan. And they were pretty much like, you have a lot of health problems. So I was actually, to me,
You look amazing.
Yeah, dude, you look
well, no, that was 20 pounds earlier.
Okay.
I actually lost 20 pounds
Nice.
since April of this year.
Wow, okay.
And so they pretty much told me I was on the brink of having diabetes. I had a fatty liver, fatty stomach.
Holy crap.
I had high cholesterol, high blood pressure. Like, I had all of these problems with me. And they were like, if you don't lose weight now, like, it's gonna get worse.
Wow.
And so that inspired me to lose weight. And it's actually kind of funny because
Did you have to do a lot of cardio, or?
it was just basically diet. It was diet. I wasn't
Okay.
watching what I was eating. I just ate whatever I wanted, And so the funny thing is, well, first off, you know, with the goal setting, why am I doing that? Why am I losing weight? It's to be around longer for my kids. Like, I don't want to die before my kids graduate high school, you know? So that was definitely a motivating factor. But then another funny thing that I actually, looking back now, is kind of silly, is I figured with personal finance, if I can cut expenses, why with weight loss, why can't I just cut what I'm eating, right? So essentially, I just reduced what I was eating. I actually didn't go to the gym at all.
That's crazy.
And so I think I lost at my peak weight loss, I lost about 25 pounds.
What was your heaviest?
in about 2 or 3 months.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and my heaviest was 195, and I got down to about 165, 170, something like that.
Okay. So how are you maintaining? Same thing, right? Pretty much just cutting out. Like,
Well, not here, you know, obviously.
Oh, yeah, you good.
Hey,
We're eating
calories don't count, man.
man.
Yeah, calories don't exist when you're on vacation, so
Yeah.
I've just been kind of
That's
eating
true.
like crazy every day.
Oh,
But
yeah.
once I get back, it's gonna be back to the gym. I actually went to the gym with AJ and Jonathan today, and
legs today.
they destroyed me. My legs are done right now. Actually, I'm glad we're sitting down right now.
Man.
Yeah, but you know, once I get back, I'm gonna get back to the diet and working out, and hopefully not so
very
much
important,
Warzone.
man.
Get those other businesses up and running. Focus on that.
Do you feel like you'd be more productive if you completely shut down Warzone? Cause sometimes I get lost in it. Like I'll just be playing Warzone because I definitely try to like edit more videos, and just this past week, man, and I've been playing a lot more Warzone. It's
Warzone.
horrible, man. Yeah.
It's fun with the right people, but definitely my time management is not good with Warzone.
I feel like every time you and I play, we've been getting wins. I'm like,
Dude, every
It's pretty
single time
crazy.
we play, we get a win.
yeah.
And you call
That's
it too.
dope, man.
This is the win.
It's like
you
the first
win.
game of the night.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's
That's
fun,
sick,
man. It's fun.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's actually how I was able to keep in touch with you guys, was Warzone.
Yeah,
I think that's why I like it so
That's,
much.
yeah.
I'm really
It'll
thankful
always
for
have a
that.
special place in my
Yeah.
heart. Because before that, we would never talk.
Yeah.
We would always just be on Instagram or messages or whatever, but we wouldn't actually voice chat
Yeah.
until Warzone came
Yeah,
along.
dude,
So
got everybody together.
that brought us all together.
I'm glad we could all reconnect. I feel like
Yeah,
it was
dude.
kind of like meant to be. Are you a spiritual guy? You believe in like things like that?
Yeah, I think so. There's definitely, you know, there's a lot of things that happened in my life that is incredible that I ended up at this point, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I think I should have been dead a couple times. I should have died a couple times. You know, I shouldn't be here at all, you know, after everything that I've been through, for sure. You know, and I think there was some kind of, you know, if you believe in that stuff, you know, I think about like luck and this and that, and you know, things happen for a reason, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, everything led up to here now at this very moment.
Yeah. And that's why we're talking to you guys.
Yeah. So start investing.
Take care of your debt first before you start investing.
Oh, I forgot to mention it earlier, and I completely forgot about the second part.
Yeah. What's the second?
So the second part is delayed gratification. Delayed gratification means foregoing luxuries now and delaying it at a later date. So that means the sacrifices you make now will ensure a greater outcome in the future.
I see.
And so a lot of people our age, we always want to buy the newest gadgets. We always want to buy the newest this, newest that. We always want to show off designer stuff.
Exactly.
And that's instant gratification. You want it now, right? But if you forego all that stuff, don't worry about it. Start looking into acquiring appreciating assets.
Yeah.
Meaning real estate, now crypto, stocks and ETFs, even gold, you know, precious metals, things like that. NFTs now, right? NFTs are pretty hot right now. So anything that increases in value is what you should be buying, right? And that will ensure a future where you can start buying luxuries.
Yeah.
Right? So like right now, our passive income is about $8,000 a month, just from doing absolutely nothing. And yeah, I could buy stuff with it, but what do? I keep the cycle of money going. So the businesses pay me money, and I use that money to buy more stocks and crypto. And so every month it's just the same cycle of money, and you're basically creating a more wealthy future by doing that.
That's awesome.
So that you can do whatever you want. You can quit your job. You can buy that Supra or that Lambo that you really want. So the difference between a broke person and a wealthy person when it comes to buying luxuries is a broke person will use their active income to buy luxuries, right? But a wealthy person will buy assets that will finance their luxuries.
Yeah.
So if I really wanted to, I could use my rental income to pay for a Lamborghini monthly payment. I'm not gonna do that because it's dumb as hell.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man.
And then if all else fails, like we always have 6 houses to choose from if we move back to America.
Yeah. Just going off of that, how much do you need to buy a property out there in, you said Indiana?
Yeah, Indiana. So I averaged it all out. So I think the average down payment was about $40,000 to $50,000, and then the average cost of renovations is about $10,000.
Yeah.
So all in for one house was an average of $60,000.
Okay, and would you say you're cash flow positive on that investment already?
Oh yeah. So that's one thing you have to learn how to do before you even put an offer on a property is to make sure that the numbers make sense. You have to have positive cash flow.
Yeah.
And all of our houses are positive cash flow right now.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome. So did you guys buy a house before you bought the house in Indiana for you guys to live in?
No, we're actually currently renting.
Oh wow.
We're renting one part of a duplex in Japan.
Okay.
And it's American style, so we have American appliances and stuff like that, which is really hard to come by in Japan. So we're just renting. You know.
That makes sense because it's not a permanent thing, right?
No,
you're not going to be there for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
You could buy a house out there if you really wanted to as a foreigner, but it's just really difficult, and I just don't think it was really worth the time and effort. So I decided to do in America, in my own backyard, because I'm American, so might as well. I figured there'd be less issues than if I was trying to deal with the Japanese companies and things like that.
If you were in our shoes, Nickie, like let's say like AJ and I, would you buy a house in California for you to live in? Or would you invest in properties in Indiana and rent in California?
That's really going to be based off of personal preference, honestly.
Yeah.
If you really truly want to live in California, like that's where your heart is and this and that, you can make it work. But I highly recommend this real estate investing strategy called house hacking. House hacking is really powerful. I wish I could have done it. I have never done it, but I know the benefits of doing it. And I actually tell a lot of my military friends to try to do that.
Yeah.
It's basically where you buy a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, and you live in one of the units, and you rent out the other units. So you own the property, but you're renting one of the units out. So what that ends up doing is it covers a portion, if not all, of your mortgage. So you're pretty much living mortgage free. As long as you have renters.
Yeah.
That's what house hacking is. And then let's say you move to another location. That's why it's more popular among military people, because they move from station to station more often than most people. So what they do is they buy a duplex, live in one, rent out the other, and then when it's time for them to change bases, they'll rent out both units. Go to another place, buy a duplex there, and just complete that cycle. Actually, I met a staff sergeant. He's an E5 in the Air Force. I met one in 2018 on business trip in Texas, and he had been house hacking. So by the time he got to his current duty station, he had 5 properties. He had 5 rental properties amassed at that point, which is a pretty great accomplishment for somebody of his status, right? Like a E5 is usually pretty low, mid-range rank, right? So for him to be able to do that, he knew what he was doing, and that story actually stuck with me at that time too, because I wasn't in real estate at that time. But so the advice for you guys, I highly recommend house hacking. Duplexes are more popular in this area, I feel like, right? I would recommend house hacking for sure.
Yeah.
If you truly want to live in California and stay here. But if not, keep your current situation of renting, if budget allows, and focus on investing in real estate in the Midwest, because the Midwest is always going to be a lot cheaper, more bang for your buck, things like that.
Because me personally, I'm sort of in that position to buy a house soon, and I'm just wondering, like, after talking to you, it's like, should I just keep renting and invest in real estate, or should I buy a house to live in?
I'm all about renting, because a lot of people don't. They compare rent prices to mortgages, right?
Yeah.
So when they find out a mortgage on one of my houses, like, oh, that's so much cheaper than my rent, right? But they're not thinking about the other costs of owning a home. So it's not just the mortgage. There's other things. There's taxes. There's home insurance. There's preventative maintenance. There's repairs. There's so many HOA fees. There's so many things associated with owning a home that a lot of people don't see. So they just think, I should just buy a home because my rent is so much more expensive than the mortgage. And then so a lot of millennials, when they do finally end up buying a home, they get bombarded with all those monthly bills, and then can't make ends meet. So I'm a huge proponent of renting. Like our rent back in Tokyo is $1,700 a month.
Oh dang!
But then on top of that is like utilities. It's probably another $300-400
right
of utilities. But that's a good thing about increasing your income streams, your income sources, is that one of the income sources actually covers rent, so that all of the active income that's coming in, we can just focus on investing. So it's pretty cool.
That's awesome. So do you have like another 5-year plan? What do you see yourself? 5 to 10 years from now?
Like I said earlier, I accomplished my 5-year plan in 1 year, which is incredible. Like, I actually have it written in my notebook still. 5-year plan, become a millionaire. And so we actually hit that February of this year. Yeah, February of this year, we hit a net worth of $1 million. Right now, it's actually sitting at about 1.36 million right now.
Hell yeah.
Congrats, man.
Thanks,
great
bro.
achievement.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, it's crazy how far we've come, because we just went from like just hardcore savers to now like hardcore investors.
And I love how you have that mentality that you're willing to share. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of millionaires that just like to keep it to themselves,
Yeah.
And if you see this guy, like, man, make sure you pick his brain, Don't be shy, dude, because this guy loves to talk about it.
I love talking about it.
DM him, message him.
Yeah.
He'll talk about it all day.
It's my personal Instagram, so it's private. It's private, so probably DM is probably the best way to get a hold of me. And then, of course, if you're serious about it, I'll send you my Calendly link, and we can set up a one-on-one, things like that. But the main point being, like AJ mentioned, is I'm just trying to help people. I'm not even really I'm not focused on the money I'm going to make from it.
Yeah.
It's just, I realized after some time, that time is valuable. So while I do love talking about this stuff, I do want to make sure that my time is being used properly.
Right.
So that's why I kind of tag along a fee with that. But it's certainly a lot cheaper than most other people that I see who aren't even millionaires on social media, doing the same thing and charging 3 figures for their one-on-one coaching sessions and stuff like that, or selling their 5-part course, right?
Their PDF.
Yeah. I'm actually thinking about writing a book. An ebook, just a quick ebook, because one of the first questions that my clients ask me is, how did I get to where I'm at today?
Yeah.
Right? And I've literally told that story about 10 times now.
Yeah. I'm glad you told it today too.
I think I could just put it in more detail on an ebook and then just sell that.
Yeah.
But it's genuinely like my story and what I did that works for me, and it's gonna have a lot of value in it. You can definitely
100%.
gain a lot of good information out of that.
I feel like you said earlier, you're just an average guy. We went to high school together. We freaking went bowling. He used to work at a bowling alley.
That's right.
I used to go bowling
And ice
after
cream
school.
shop.
Yeah, man. And now you're a millionaire.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't feel any different. Like I just feel like a normal guy. Like I'm usually not douchey about it. Like I try to help people.
Yeah,
You know, I definitely not like how I was when I was in the military, like trying to be all flashy and stuff. I just don't care about it anymore. And right now my focus is just helping people, honestly.
That's awesome,
like
man.
as cheesy as that sounds, I really want other people to succeed also.
Yeah.
And I'm just a regular dude. Like I mentioned earlier with you is I don't remember the first time I hit 100K. It's just a blur, you know? So a lot of people think that that's like a big accomplishment. And I agree, you know, the first 100K is really hard to get to. It's going to take a lot of hard work. But then once you start changing little habits, your mindset and stuff like that, it becomes pretty easy after 100K. It was like really time consuming to get to. But at the same time, I don't really remember hitting that milestone. It was just kind of like, okay, great, you hit it. Okay, so here's to the next 100K. So pretty much once you hit that first 100K, you've already built up a good set of habits, good set of skills.
Yeah.
Your mindset has hopefully changed by then. So everything after that is pretty much downhill after the first 100K. And then even talking to people about the first million, like previously when I envisioned myself hitting that $1 million mark, yeah, a lot of people think it's not that much money in this time, but I think it's still a pretty cool accomplishment to achieve. And when I had envisioned it previously, I thought it was going to be like this emotional event, right? Oh, we just hit $1 million net worth, this and that. But in reality, when it happened, it was just kind of like, okay, cool. Here's to the next million.
Yeah.
You know, and here we are a couple months later. It's you know, we're about a third or so of the way there to the next million.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I mean by everything after the first 100K, it just comes a lot more exponentially.
Exponential growth, right?
Yeah. You know, compounding growth, things like that. And when you have more money at your disposal, you take bigger risks. So one of my investments was, it was either going to be a hit or miss, specifically crypto. And luckily it was a hit. But yeah, you know, a big portion of the net worth is from real estate as well.
Yeah.
Because real estate is one of the best asset classes that you can get into. Actually, I keep reading everywhere that 90% of millionaires are made through real estate.
Real estate, right?
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm very confident to say that that's my path as well.
Yeah.
That's how I was able to reach $1 million net worth so quick. It's because the difference between a car and a house is the first day after you own that asset, it's already increased in value. Whereas with a car, as soon as you drive it off, it's already like 15-20% depreciation.
One of my biggest regrets right there.
Yeah. It's all good, man. We all make the same mistakes, and you can't fault yourself for something that you didn't know.
Yeah.
Like I've made plenty of mistakes in my life, and you learn from it. That's all. You learn from it, take what you know now, and move on.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's why I want to teach my kids about financial intelligence, financial literacy.
Yeah.
I heard there's also apps now. I don't exactly remember the name, but as a parent, you can start like an investing app for your kid where you can just manage it and then you can Do you have one of those? Or
I don't have one of those, but I've listed our kids as beneficiaries. But that is a good idea to create an account, like a custodial account for your children if you really want to, and that way, you know, you could pass it on to them and they could learn how to manage it on their own. That's great. Those are all great ideas, and I'm thinking about doing that.
Yeah,
I actually also
saw
added
that. I was like, dude,
yeah.
I wish my parents did that. That's crazy.
So also, I added
Like a trust fund?
Yeah.
when I was
for stocks.
Oh.
Yeah, like
for
you
stocks.
can monitor.
When I first got a car loan, the interest rate was so high, 17%, is because I had no credit build as an 18-year-old.
Oh, jeez.
I had zero credit history, this and that. And so knowing that, I don't want my kids to have the same situation, so I actually put them down as authorized users on my credit card. So they actually have their own credit card.
Nice.
As a 2 and a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
So that their name can get reported, and so hopefully build their credit, because
That's great.
we don't carry over any balances. I don't think I've ever paid interest for the past like 10 years.
Nice.
Or 9 or 10 years, because I became debt free in 2012.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So, like in Japan, when you're going through that process, like, did you have any mentors, or it was just all you, pretty much?
It was pretty much all me. I was all self-taught. I read articles, I read books, I watched a ton of YouTube videos. To learn about real estate investing, I got onto biggerpockets.com. Really awesome community. They have a bunch of different people. There's Brandon Turner. He wrote
Brandon Turner. Yeah.
So I came across a bunch of his videos, which led me to the website.
Yeah.
His videos are awesome. Really cool stuff. Learned a lot on Bigger Pockets. Read a bunch of articles on Investopedia and this and that. Forbes, Yahoo Finance.
Yeah.
Read a bunch of articles about companies that I invested in, because you want to know like where they're headed, if you believe in their progress and things like that. So pretty much it's a lot of research. You can't just do anything blindly. You have to research, you have to put in the work to understand what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'm some kind of like scholar or anything like that. It's just I find it interesting enough for me to care enough to know what I'm investing in.
Yeah.
And so to answer your question, I didn't really have a mentor. I didn't have anybody that helped me with my finances. I was pretty much just learned on my own as I went. Trial and error, things like that. And you never stop learning. You always constantly learn. I'm still, to this day, I still watch a bunch of YouTube videos. I listen to audiobooks when I can. Read articles. My Instagram went from all meme pages to all finance pages now. So like my feed is all like finances. And then it's sprinkled with like some memes here and there, some really crispy memes in there. But for the most part, if you go through my feed right now, it's just all finance stuff, and there's things that I find valuable information, and I'll just share it on my story.
Nice.
And then in between, like funny kid videos, of my life in Japan. There'll be a lot of like knowledge in there.
So if people follow you on Instagram, can they just follow, or are you not letting people follow on your personal one yet?
Yeah, it's just the personal one I try to keep just with friends. I'll probably make a new Instagram for that reason, because I want to separate personal from professional.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So if so for right now, I'll probably just do DMs.
Okay.
And then we can go from there.
Okay.
Yeah,
we'll update the link in the
yeah,
bio
if I
once it
do
goes public.
Exactly. If I do make a new Instagram, I can just send that to you.
Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up for now. We're gonna summarize everything Nickie talked about. So, what are your key takeaways?
So my key takeaways for this is number 1, track your income and expenses. Number 2, create a budget. Number 3, absolutely get out of debt. And then number 4, invest your ass off. Buy and hold for the long haul. Whatever asset classes that may be, focus on one, excel at it, and then branch off into others.
Yeah,
that's my key takeaways for today. And just keep the cycle of money going. Make sure it works for you. Then eventually you can reach financial independence and quit your job and do whatever you want.
Nice. You can play Warzone all day.
Play Warzone all day. Run some businesses if you really want to, but mostly play Warzone all day.
That's the dream, man.
Yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you to Nickie for coming on
thanks
today,
for having
man.
me, dude.
Appreciate you so much. I'm inspired, man. Hopefully you inspired them.
Yeah. No, thanks. Man. Thanks
Make sure you guys follow this guy.
on YouTube.
Amazing.
Hell yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you guys. See you on the next one.
And we'll see you on the next
BANGnCHAT.
Peace. Hell yeah, that was good. That was good, man. Thank you so much, dude.
Yeah, dude.
Thanks for having me. I hope it turns out all right.
Yeah, no, I think it's.